It's time for Around the Ozarks News, brought to you by the Springfield-Greene County Park Board, Blue Current, and Thompson Sales. Here are your hosts, Ethan and Sarah Foreheads.
Hey, good morning to you on Monday. Hope your weekend was grand. I was in, I was in Omaha, Nebraska, my first time ever in the state of Nebraska, and found it to be a nice town. There was no snow on the ground this time of year, which there could be. So I was thrilled about that. And Sarah, you went in an opposite direction. Where were you?
Yes, I was in an opposite direction of Omaha, but I was in the Ozarks, Springfield, Ridgecrest Baptist on Friday night. I spoke there and it was lovely. And then Saturday and Sunday, actually, in El Dorado Springs. So I got to tell you, I saw more deer leaving Springfield than I did in El Dorado. And I was a little confused by that. I felt like I had a more likely chance of hitting one on like Highway 65 than I did in the country, you know? So yeah, I think they have places to go in the country.
Right now. I saw some. Some kids of some friends of ours each got a deer, so that was exciting for them. Hey, we have severe weather to watch out for today, so I would highly suggest you staying tuned and checking out Abby Dyer's Wake Up Weather right after this, because I think they could be some pretty strong storms at last check anyway. So that's worth checking out.
All right, we'll do.
Other than that, we'll do some news.
Tomorrow is Election Day. Hard to believe tomorrow is already November 5th. It is expected to be one of the highest voter turnouts that we've seen. Polls in Missouri open at 6 a.m. They close at 7 p.m. You would serve yourself well to study the ballot. Before you get there, go online, look at your sample ballot from your county before you get to the polls. Otherwise, it is taking voters quite a while to get through all the ballot language. So be prepared. The public will soon have fewer details on car crash and boating crash reports. The Missouri State Highway Patrol will now withhold the names of the people in the traffic and boating and drowning incidents. The reason, they say, is because scammers have used identifying information found online to target crash victims or anyone else associated with a crash victim. The patrol says the benefit of making that information public no longer outweighs the risk.
Interesting. I know
it is interesting, and I use that website a lot. So you can still get, other information from it, but you can't get like the names unless you're directly involved, at which you can. But I understand the concern, but I'm a little also like, darn, because I always thought they did a great job of detailing what happened. And as a reporter, that's information that we are looking for. So,
yeah. All right. Two women, this is something, in their 50s fell out of a mountain coaster in Branson. It happened over the weekend at a ride at Shepherd of the Hills. They're said to have moderate injuries after falling about 6 feet off this coaster on a turn. The coaster is now closed while the incident is being investigated, but you don't hear that very often. Something went wrong.
No, I know. I wonder. That's very interesting.
Yeah. Boy, have you driven James River Freeway in the last few days? If you have, like I have, then you already know that it's pretty much wrapped up, the construction work there. Progress as promised, right? Crews finishing up. Speed limits going back to 60 miles an hour there, and it's like a luxury cruise. You're on 3 lanes. There's space, I guess, probably to add another lane real close to the median there eventually. But right now, I guess it's a place to pull off if you get a wreck or something. I don't know. Then, as soon as that finishes, something else is getting ready to start. Interstate 44 up in North Springfield. They're going to widen that to 3 lanes each way for 5 miles between Highway 65 and Highway 13. Right now, they're taking bids from contractors who will do that work. And that's needed there. It gets really congested there. Lots of big trucks and a lot of people coming on and off the highway right there, too. Work is set to begin there on Interstate 44 this spring. And that will take years to complete, we're told. I can't imagine it would take, years, but I guess maybe so. I was trying to think of how long the James River Freeway work was being done. 'Cause I
Interstate
feel like
44 is a totally different beast, though, than
yeah,
James
I
River
know.
Freeway.
Yeah, I suppose it is, but it still
I mean,
seems
you
like
have to like on James River Freeway, you can get down with like closing a lane. On I-44, they have to build like a faux lane, and then put up a wall divider in between. I mean, that's a whole different game.
they'll have to build up the median because right now I think it's a ditch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, there you go. It'll start in the spring and then last forever.
Yeah, lasts about 3 years, actually, I think, to be exact. I think it's about 3
time.
years. So Bass Pro Shop says inflation and a downturn in the overall recreational boating industry means consolidations and some layoffs, unfortunately. A portion of Bolivar's boating plant is moving to Lebanon, which will impact 81 jobs. Bass Pro is also closing the plant in Miami, Oklahoma, and instead doing that production work in Clinton, Missouri. That will impact about 148 jobs. So with the current economy, Bass Pro said the damage, for lack of a better term, really is just too much to mitigate completely. So they had to make this move. It was a must for them. MSU just picked up 2 federal grants totaling about $637,000. One grant is from the EPA, provides technical assistance to businesses that develop pollution prevention stuff. So that's for pollution prevention practices. And then the other grant provides financing for an ag professor, specifically working on what's called the adaptation of pasture and forest land to silvopasture and black walnut systems in southern Missouri. Sounds very fancy.
What's that now?
I didn't leave out any words of the title, but if you read the press release, it essentially says that they are looking at the integration of pasture land and black walnut forest with assistance from drones.
Okay.
So there it is in English.
I still have no idea what it means.
You and I are not ag people, but some of our audience, I promise you, are ag people.
Well, I know.
And so they know how to interpret everything I just said.
Well, we need one of them on with us to explain it to the rest of us. That's what needs to happen because I have no idea what that means. What are drones going to do? Look at walnut trees?
Drones, yeah, they're going to look at the integration of pasture land, like you know what pasture land is, and black walnut forest.
Okay. Where they meet?
Yeah, and they're going to use drones to get the job done.
Okay, well, that sounds like it's worth whatever amount of money they're getting.
I think it is. I think so for sure. Absolutely.
Football this weekend, Missouri State University got another win. That's great. The Bears are now 5-0 in the Missouri Valley, which is incredible. 7-2 on the season. MSU beat Southern Illinois 38-17 at Plaster Stadium in Springfield. Things are looking up for the Bears. That's great. Next Saturday, they play at Murray State. Missouri State will play at Murray State. And the Missouri Tigers, meanwhile, did not play this weekend. The Tigers will be back, and they had a bye weekend. They'll be back in action next Saturday at home against Oklahoma. And through no fault of their own, they were dropped from the AP Top 25 poll. If you sit around and don't do anything, you get overlooked. So that's what happened. Yeah. They were at the bottom of that. They were at 25, and now they've dropped out of the AP Top 25. But hey, maybe they beat Oklahoma next week. We'll see.
We'll see about that.
And tonight, the Kansas City Chiefs play at home against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Chiefs are 7-0. The Bucs are 4-4 going into Monday Night Football tonight. And it'll be interesting to see whether weather plays a factor in that game at all. I don't know what they're expecting up there, but typically if we get stuff down here, there's a line of it that they also get. I don't know the timing, but we'll see if it affects the game.
Okay. More than 3,000 people participated in this year's Bass Pro Shops Marathon over the weekend. Talking marathon, half marathon, 5K. 40 states were represented here in the Ozarks. And this marathon is a qualifier for the Boston Marathon, the famous Boston Marathon happening in April. So very exciting weekend for a lot of my friends who ran Go runners go. And I'm guessing that you will start to once again see fewer runners in the early mornings if you are driving to work early.
No more
I mean,
training.
some people will keep on keeping on, but yes, I think that the training might drop off a little bit.
Yeah, right.
All right. We want to make mention of our latest contest before we go. Check out aroundtheozarks.com and scroll down to the Branson Bowl. This week, we are giving away game tickets, Chiefs tickets at Arrowhead Stadium for the November 29th football game versus the Raiders.
Nice.
So check it out. Tickets to the Raiders game versus the Chiefs, November 29th at Arrowhead. And you will need the keyword to prove that you listen to Around the Ozarks. Ethan, it is?
The keyword is glamping.
Glamping. There
Camping
you go.
with a G.
That's right.
An L.
Yeah.
Glamping. It's glamorous
like
camping.
Glamorous camping. There you go.
Hey,
Glamping.
that game's on Black Friday. Did you know that?
Oh, is it? November 29th is Black Friday?
29th is Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. Yeah. That would be super fun, actually.
It would.
Yeah. Good timing. Good timing.
We'll give you free tickets if you win.
We'll give you free tickets. Yeah. You just have to go to aroundtheozarks.com and enter the contest, Branson Bowl. So good times. Okay, that's it. That's all we got. We so appreciate you watching. Make sure that you stick around for Abby Dyer's Wake Up Weather with Abby because like Ethan mentioned off the top, we could see some severe weather. We know that we have some much needed rain. So there you go. When it rains, it pours.
She's got a lot to talk about today. That's for sure.
All right. Have a good one.
Yep. We'll see you tomorrow.
It's time for Around the Ozarks Wake Up Weather, sponsored by Rescue Towing, Command Family Medicine, and John's Heating and Air. Here's your host, meteorologist Abby Dyer.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. I hope you enjoyed a nice fall weekend across the Ozarks, but things have changed. And you know that. You probably heard the rain, the thunderstorms, some of which were strong late last night into the overnight hours. And there's still rain on the radar this morning as we're waking up. This is actually a bit of a lull that we're entering. As of 5 a.m., temperatures are warm and we're still seeing 60s across the board in Missouri. So very warm temperatures today with highs still expected to make it into the 70s despite multiple rounds of showers and thunderstorms. We are under a flood watch for most of the Missouri Ozarks, and that includes northern Arkansas, basically along and south of I-44. Heavy rain. I mean, torrential downpours late last night. So if you live in a place that's prone to flooding, watch some of those roads this morning on the morning drive. I think it will be important to keep an eye on through the day too, because more rain and more heavy rain is on the way and potentially more severe weather is on the way today too. So starting off very active for the new work week in the Ozarks. We had some severe weather late yesterday, mainly damaging winds, but also the torrential rain. And there were several tornado warnings out in Oklahoma. Of course, we had some severe weather here in the Ozarks late last night too. A bit of a lull in that severe activity, but don't let your guard down because I'm expecting more strong to severe storms to develop as we head into the afternoon hours, probably after 3 p.m., lasting through this evening and not ending until Tuesday morning. So there is often this little second hump of severe weather that happens in the Ozarks in the fall season. We are getting a taste of that as we begin the new week. It's really for all of the Ozarks today as well that have the potential to see the heavy rain and severe thunderstorms. The flood watch is going to be in effect through Tuesday morning, as I mentioned, but this is all happening out ahead of a pretty strong cold front that currently is draped back off to our northwest. Won't be pushing through until early tomorrow. So we're not going to feel the effects of that cold front today. All this rain and storm activity, it's happening in the unstable air that's out ahead of that cold front. Flood watch in effect today. I mentioned that already overnight, several inches of rainfall reported. And by the time this event is over, I think a widespread place in the Ozarks is going to see anywhere from 2 to 5 inches of rain, with localized amounts potentially seeing more than 6 inches of rain. That's why there's a flood watch out. And potentially there could be some flash flood warnings. So make sure you have a way to receive your watches and warnings today. High water can get out of hand so quickly, and you don't want to be stuck out in that. Of course, if you do see water over a roadway, you got to turn around and find another way. Do not attempt to go through it. I think this could be particularly dangerous in the Ozarks today because we've been experiencing drought conditions. We just are not used to the heavy downpours. And with such dry ground, I think there could be some ponding on the roads that we haven't seen in quite some time. Showers and thunderstorms with a chance of severe weather then kick back up again this afternoon and evening. We've got some lingering rain on the radar this morning, primarily in our far southeastern counties out towards Shannon County, places like Howell County. That's lasting all the way down into northern Arkansas. These are kind of hit or miss showers, nothing severe this morning. However, as we head closer to the lunch hour, closer to school release time, I think that's when we need to start looking out for that next wave of severe thunderstorms. Again, the risk will be for damaging winds, but a few embedded tornadoes are not out of the question, so everyone needs to have a way to get watches and warnings again today. I am expecting that the severe weather chances last through tonight and do not end until early Tuesday when that front actually passes through. We will not feel the cool air until Tuesday behind that cold front. Today, I've still got us in the 70s for highs. Despite the clouds and the rain, it's going to warm up in the Ozarks, and I've got 73 degrees for that high temperature here in Springfield today. We will see temperatures back up into the 60s tomorrow, and then the cooler weather looks to stick around. By Wednesday, we've got some nice weather conditions. That's when you can expect the sunshine to return. Actually, I think it'll be back on late day Tuesday, and then temperatures will drop off again with lows back into the 40s and highs back to the 60s, which is more typical of this time of the year. Around the country, what's making headlines? Well, it's our chance for severe weather. And of course, the severe weather that happened over the weekend for parts of the Southwest and the plains out in Oklahoma, damaging severe weather on Saturday night, another round Sunday night. Now it's Monday. The Ozarks are in the target for severe weather, and that is happening in the national news headlines as well. There's also heavy snowfall falling back out to our west, the Intermountain West, seeing some high elevation, heavy snowfall, which is not too uncommon for this time of the year, but noteworthy. And you may hear folks talking about that on the national news. All right, it's time for the Around the Ozarks Wake Up Weather Brain Twister Trivia question for the day. And the question that I left you with late last week, how many countries still have a royal family? A, 1, B, 17, C, 43, or D, 109? How many countries do you think still have a royal family? To me, it seems like we only hear about one, of course, but actually 43 countries still have a royal family. Most of these monarchies date back to the British Empire. British king still head of the state, of course, but Europe has the most countries with a monarchy still in place, with 12 countries there. Asia has 13 in place, North and South America, 9 combined, and Africa has 3 countries where a monarchy still is in place. However, most modern monarchs are constitutional monarchs, meaning that they have a ceremonial and legal role, but they have limited or no political power. Speaking of election forecast for us in the Ozarks, if you're heading out to the polls tomorrow, it's a good thing it's not today. It's going to be a nicer day tomorrow on the backside of that cold front. All right, here's the question that I'll leave you with for tomorrow. How many heart chambers does a cockroach have? Do you think it is 1, B, 4, C, 8, or D, 12? You can go submit your guess. That's at aroundtheozarks.com. By the way, the website has an awesome weather section. So head on over to aroundtheozarks.com, click on the weather tab, and you are going to get some great hour-by-hour information. You can get information about the different alerts that we are under today, watches and warnings. And as I mentioned earlier, it's really important to make sure you're checking the weather today, especially after 3 p.m. I think we have another potential for severe storms in the Ozarks, with potentially damaging winds up to 70 miles an hour. A few tornadoes look possible. And of course, the heavy rain threat that could lead to flooding. I'll be back to chat with you early again tomorrow. Thank you to our sponsors, Rescue Towing, Command Family Medicine, and John's Heating and Air.